Episode 235. Today we're talking about some standouts between Minnesota and Colorado from last night. Excellent game. I was really impressed with how Colorado was playing, and I thought for majority of it they were really controlling play, controlling possession. They were able to be a play driver in a lot of facets of the game yesterday. So that was really noticeable on their side to really watch that and really watch how they were shutting plays down defensively, activate in transition, be active in the O zone in terms of the weak side defensemen and their activity in terms of O zone possession in general and their movement, their side to side play, and their ability to change sides and possession on at 5-on-5 and also the power play. I thought was really effective when it came down to being able to generate offense. And they're one of the more dynamic teams when it comes to possession and possessing the puck in the O zone. It's really not even close. Like they do a really good job in terms of their structure, being able to have guys activate when need be and be able to activate in a timely manner. At the same time, they have guys who can really be a threat coming down the flanks, being a threat moving downhill in the ozone, being a threat in the slot offensively. They have a lot of guys who really work well off each other. And as you mentioned before, that top line that they have of Arturi Lehkonen with Nathan McKinnon and Martin H is one of the best lines in the league as of late. Right up there with, I would say, Winnipeg's top line with Gabe Vilardi, Kyle Connor, and Mark Scheifele. And I think it's really close. I think when you look at how that trio plays together, they play with a lot of speed, a lot of forechecking pursuit, a lot of really good pressure in terms of their details and how they're able to pursue pucks and also get pucks back on retrievals and be able to create opportunities for themselves in very effective ways. So I think when you're talking about the Avalanche, they aren't a one-line team, and they actually just made a big trade today too. They acquired Ryan Lindgren and Jimmy Vesey. Ryan Lindgren could very well be a top four defenseman for them in the meantime and could really fit their style really nice as well. And I think with Ryan Lindgren and Jimmy Vesey, and that makes it going to be interesting in terms of the depth that they have for the playoff run and how they're able to adapt and get better over time with those two guys. But just outside of that, in terms of this game yesterday, when you look at how Colorado was playing on line rush, they were playing with a ton of speed. They were playing with a ton of speed around the net too. Like so much speed in transition, so much speed offensively, so much speed at being able to get back and being able to use their strides in terms of their defensemen to be able to get back in position defensively, being able to recover positionally, being able to control their gaps, manage their sticks, and just manage the space in terms of how they're defending. And overall, they were very effective. Like they're really good at collapsing and swarming and in zone coverage defensively too. I think there were some times in their swarms where they got a little bit aggressive on the high part of the zone, but outside of that, in terms of their swarm and how they were able to collapse on coverage and how they were able to collapse on pucks, they were doing a really good job of that. And they were doing a very effective job of being able to maintain man-on-man coverage defensively and in the D zone for majority of this game. I think they really outplayed Minnesota in a lot of areas and wasn't really that close either. I think Minnesota, they had some good tempo and some good rhythm early on in the game, but they got shut down in the later stages of the game. They weren't able to generate too much, and they were limited to only 2 goals later on in the game. I think looking at Colorado's side too, a lot of their depth guys stood out, and that was something that was really noticeable. It wasn't just Nathan McKinnon driving the offense, it wasn't just Cale Makar driving the offense. You had guys like Ross Colton who was going. He had 2 goals in this game actually, so he had 40% of the goals, and then Oliver Chillington who had 2 assists. He looked awesome in this game. I think he looked really good as a playmaker, using his vision on breakouts, moving up ice, moving in transition, and inside the offensive zone when making lateral seam plays. And Jack Drury was also very effective. Jonathan Drouin had a really nice snipe in terms of his goal off the rush. Jack Drury, I believe that was his sixth goal of the year, and he had 3 shots in this game. So he's effective more so on the offensive side of the puck than the defensive side of it. Usually it's kind of the opposite for him. He's more defensive minded as a center, more effective on the defensive side of the puck. But this game he was more prone to his offense and more prone to being able to generate offense. So and then Yoel Kiviranta was very effective. Of course, Marty Necas was really good. Valerie Nichushkin had a goal in this game and 5 shots. Valerie Nichushkin is one of the most interesting players in the league to watch because when you look at his style, how he's able to attack, how he's able to get going at full speed, he's like a freight train. Like when he gets going at full speed, you can almost never stop him. It's really crazy to see a guy move so powerfully on his edges at that size. It's really rare to see too. He's one of the better power forwards in the game, one of the more underrated power forwards in the game, I would say. I think the thing is with him is how is he going to continue to manage his injuries and the off ice stuff and whatnot and whatever's going on there. But I think with Nichushkin, when he's on the ice, he's always playing and he's always noticeable. and he's always creating something. So whether it be off the rush and transition, in the O zone, being able to create in terms of his passing game and playmaking game, he can create in a lot of different ways that many other power forwards can't. And he's got that advantage and that size, reach, and advantage to be able to create offense in a lot of nuanced ways. And then Sammy Gerard was also really effective. Another, I wouldn't say depth guy. He's more of a top four guy for them defensively in terms of the role he plays and how he's able to do that on a regular basis for them. But when Sam Gerard, he's underratedly physical, I would say. I think when you look at him, you notice the 5 to 10 frame, but he's actually really strong and really physical for his size. He is really aggressive in man-on-man checking. He's really aggressive in terms of his D zone coverage. He's aggressive at being able to use his feet to close and being able to use his feet to close gaps quick and get to space quick and also collapse on coverage quick. So Gerard's got a lot of versatile abilities within his skating and his footwork and also how he's able to pivot to be able to really close gaps effectively and being able to leverage that to his advantage. I think he's really strong when it comes to that, underratedly strong. And obviously he gets overlooked for quite a lot of reasons, part of which you have Devontae's and you have Cale Makar. So you're not going to notice him as much when you're focusing on those two mainly. When it comes to Gerard, though, I really like his game. I think his two-way game is also underrated in terms of how he plays defensively, how he manages entries, in terms of denials and how he's able to shut plays down. I think he's an underrated shutdown defenseman, and I think he's an underrated offensive guy too. He's underrated really in a lot of aspects of his game. It just doesn't get a ton of credit in many different situations for his play there. And then I thought Mackenzie Blackwood was getting that. I think his depth was good. He was creating and controlling rebounds really nicely for the most part. I think early on there was a little bit more struggle because Minnesota kind of came out of the gate firing and he got better at the game as the game went on. And then Blackwood, he was making some really nice side to side saves. He was really solid with his glove. He was controlled with his blocker. I think his movement looked nice. His tracking through space and his tracking through layers of pressure was really good to see. And he was closing pucks on his glove side pretty quick. So that was really good to see out of Blackwood throughout this game as well.